On this week's episode of the Mike Pressler Show, we break down the Bulldogs' big win over Albany on the road. We have a chat with the Bryant golf coach, Charlie Blanchard, and of course, we take a look at the upcoming week, including this weekend's game against Stony Brook. It's all here next on the Mike Pressler Show here on Cox Sports Television. And welcome to this episode of the Mike Pressler Show. We're here at Blackie's Bulldog Tavern in Smithfield, Rhode Island. I'm Mike Mancuso, joined as always by the head coach of the Bryant Bulldogs men's lacrosse team, Mike Pressler. And Coach, great to have you on the show this week once again. And some good news to start with, receiving votes in both polls now, both the media and the coaches poll. And Kevin Massa, for the third week this season already, picking up Rookie of the Week honors. What more can you say about him?
Kevin's performance against Albany was quite incredible. Freshman in his sixth college game, Division I game, you know, his numbers were gaudy. I mean, 23 of 29, 13 ground balls, 3 assists, and that incredible set of 10 for 10 in the second half. So certainly Kevin had a lot to do with our win up at Albany.
Yeah, pretty impressive already, his third honor of the year. And you know, looking back at the Albany game, a huge 14-12 win. It puts you guys now at 4-2 on the season. But more importantly, I think, besides being the fact it was your third straight win, it was a road win, your first road win of the season. How big was that for you guys?
It was really big. I mean, Albany was 0-5, but a very dangerous 0-5, a much better 0-5 team than people would think. We had never been to Albany. I'd never been to Albany. It was the end of spring break. It was coming off a remarkable win, comeback win versus Drexel the week before. Our guys had a great week of practice. They invested in this one. 2-a-days, Monday and Tuesday. We were very, very sharp all week, and for the most part, played very well up at Albany.
And now, you mentioned it was spring break last week for the team. How much more difficult or how much easier is it for you to keep your guys focused during spring break?
Well, we went 2-a-days. We met on Sunday. There's no NCAA rules during that week regarding limitation as far as practice time. So you're allowed to basically do a little training camp again and get back to basics, and we certainly did that. So, you know, again, our guys are, you know, this is a very serious thing. You know, playing Division I lacrosse, taking Bryant to the next level, and our guys understand that. They took care of themselves very well off the field, and it certainly showed in our performance.
Absolutely, it wound up being a 14-12 victory. And you know, last week we also talked about how your team would handle the recent success. Were you happy with how they've been able to translate those 2 wins at home into now a road win as well?
Absolutely. I mean, we're even though we're young in a lot of spots, I think we're very mature in other ways. The core of our team has been together for a long time, and they understand what's at stake here. And you know, for 6 straight games now, we've been ready to play, and the credit goes to the veteran guys, the credit goes to the seniors and the captains for making this team ready to play for the last 6 starts.
Absolutely. So let's get to some of the highlights now from Saturday's game on the road at Albany.
You know, Alex Sommerfeld, 2 sophomores, to Colin Dunster to get us going out of the sub game, I believe. You know, Kevin Massa just spectacular on the ground ball, transition off the face-off. You know, Mason Poley's a remarkable offensive player with a long pole.
And that gave you a 3-2 lead at the time.
Again, on the sub game here, Colin Dunster getting his hands free.
And now here a little bit of razzle-dazzle coming up from Colin Dunster.
You know, I've seen a lot of goals in my day, and I don't think I've ever seen one like that between his legs. And you know, Colin is a remarkable player and a remarkable athlete. And it's Mason Poley off the ground in transition here. We're doing a great job all day going D-to-O. You know, great ground ball behind the goal. Alex Sommerfeld, 2 passes. We get Colin Dunster on a restart. Travis Harrington runs by their best pole, number 50. For a big hole here, and Peter McMahon, you know, directly overhand. Great shot for Peter. Great save by Jamison off the foot. Huge ground ball by Alex Sommerfeld in front of the goal. Ignites transition. Ben Sternberg kind of outruns everybody, forces him to slide. You know, Cody Isdana runs up the hash and deposits the ball. So another great transition goal. Matt McGrady taking the ball away from number 2 in the middle of the field. Kind of getting us going again, D-to-O. Again, Kevin Massa doing his thing at the face-off X. Again, creating offense with Mason Poley.
Now we're going to see a couple of saves out of Jamison Love.
Max Wiesenberg getting the ball out of his stick. A great one more from Colin to Peter McMahon. Jay made some saves. I don't think Jay was necessarily spectacular this week, but he made some routine saves look easier than maybe they should have, and made a couple difficult ones. But the game was won at the offensive end this week. Incredible play by Kevin Massey here, keeping the ball alive. We get a lucky bounce through their defenseman. Here comes Sommerfeld and Mason Poley again.
Yeah, Poley finishing the day with his first career hat trick. That was goal number 7 on the season for him.
Colin Dunster off the run. Awful tough. We were extra man there and just became all even, and Max Wiesenberg scored.
And that made it 14-7 at the time. Final score wound up being 14-12 on the day. And once again, you had plenty of different goal scorers. You had 6 different goal scorers on the day. Colin Dunster led the way with 5 goals and assists. Poley had 3, Harrington 2, McMahon 2, Isdaner 1, and Wiesenberg 1 as well. And we've talked a lot about Colin Dunster today. How do you evaluate his performance, especially the fact that he was shut out against Drexel?
Colin lets the game come to him. And, he got some opportunities against Drexel. I don't think he shot the ball that well. But he's uncanny with that. Doesn't force any issues. All the plays that he gets, as I mentioned, the play comes to him. And he's uncanny ability to make these plays. And he's off to an incredible start offensively in just his sophomore year.
Absolutely. And now, in the first quarter, you were up 5-4. Second quarter, you built a 10-7 lead. And then things kind of got a little bit wide open. By the end of the third quarter, you were up 11-7. What was the message, though, at halftime after what was a very back-and-forth, up-tempo style of game?
We were up 9-4 and had a chance on a fast break to make it 10-4 and kind of let them back in it. But they're an explosive team offensively, and I just implored our guys to keep the foot on the gas. And the first 5 minutes of the third, and reestablish momentum. And we played much better defensively in the third quarter. Kind of shut them out there. Got a goal from Peter McMahon. So here we are, 11-7, beginning the fourth, and pretty much in control.
Right, and then in the fourth quarter, you scored the first 3 goals. You were up 14-7 with 12:03. And then what happened? Did you kind of let your foot off the gas? I mean, all of a sudden, Albany was able to get right back in it. They scored the next 5 goals and made it 14-12.
We were on our heels there in the last 6 or 7 minutes, and the credit goes to Albany. Some very uncharacteristic mistakes in our part, kind of double teaming us. We had people open, didn't throw them the ball. But the disappointing thing of our 20 turnovers, 9 came in the fourth quarter. But we outground balled them 17-6. So we'll certainly take the road win. I thought we could have finished better, but 14-12 against a very explosive team offensively in Albany is a fine win by us.
Absolutely. Now heading into the game, the X factor you thought might be attack play and also the transition game. How do you think that played out for your guys?
I thought our attack finished pretty well for the most part. The game was won in the middle of the field. The transition game, the face-off game, the sub game proved to be, the difference for us.
And how would you grade your team's overall performance on a letter grade scale?
That's an A- for effort. I still say we're a B, solid B in execution, and still waiting to put 4 quarters together. It's like it was 3 1/4 quarters. 3 quarters of the last quarter. As I mentioned, we kind of took our foot off the gas.
Absolutely. And now later on the show, we're going to have one of your longtime friends, Charlie Blanchard. What are a couple things you could say about Mr. Blanchard? Charlie
brings a smile to my face. We have developed a relationship from player coach to peers and the best of friends. Charlie and I met in 1986 when I was a 26-year-old head coach at Ohio Wesleyan in Delaware, Ohio. He was a sophomore, not much younger than me. Charlie ended up being the Division I midfielder of the year his senior year. First team All-American, arguably one of the greatest Division III midfielders of all time, and then became arguably one of the best golfers in the history of New England amateur golf. And Charlie and I are reunited and play a lot of golf together, and so thrilled for him to land the Bryant golf job. I'm going to miss him as my roommate on the road, coaching lacrosse, but just a great move for him and his family, and a great move for Bryant Athletics.
So that interview with Coach Blanchard coming up next here on The Mike Pressler Show.